Hello everybody. So I have been working on this build. It's a Void Spellblade based around the item Lament of the Lost Refuge, and I'm having a ton of fun playing it. The clear feels pretty solid, the build is relatively quick, the single target damage is actually really solid, and I want to talk about it because my planner actually was initially a Sork. So let's talk about the planner and what happened. So initially I was a Sork, and the reason why we were a Sork is because we wanted to use Black Hole. And I saw in Black Hole there was a node called Collapse, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And I tried Black Hole with Collapse and without, and I tried Meteor. And all of the versions that I was running in Sork did a lot of damage. But the issue wasn't damage, the issue was clear and sustain. I did a ton of damage, but I had a ton of trouble healing up because my damage was super bursty, right? It wasn't very consistent, which meant I didn't have a good source of leech. So because I didn't have a good source of leech and my damage was very front loaded, I tried a couple of different things. I tried cast on crit meteors, I tried Black Hole, I tried Meteor itself, like direct cast, and what I found was that while I did have a lot of damage, I just didn't have the AoE. So I decided to try something else, which was Frostclaw. And when I was using Frostclaw, proccing off of my melee hit from Mana Strike, it felt really good. I decided that that was kind of the way I wanted to go in order to push this further, because you can make Frostclaw hit the same target up to 5 times. So that's basically 500% added damage effectiveness, which is incredibly powerful because we have a ton of flat damage. We are running both Lament of the Lost Refuge. Mine's giving me about 150 flat damage on bosses, and then we are also running the Velatria set, which is giving another, like 70 flat damage. So with both of them together, we're getting like 220 flat damage. So added damage effectiveness is very powerful for us. Turns out that with this build, our AoE is actually really good. We do a really good job of clearing packs. We do a really good job of being against bosses. The only thing we're lacking is a little bit of sustain, just because I don't have set crafting unlocked yet, and I think that's something that's really important for this build. So if you don't have set crafting unlocked, which is the Woven Echo that gives you access to shattering your sets so that you can apply them to different, exalted items, I would not recommend this build. Just because once you get that, you can make really good exalted items in both your amulet and helmet slot that can serve as like a good source of defenses for you. Right now I'm lacking a lot of armor just purely because my helmet is lacking the armor. What I would rather have on here rather than health would be % increased armor, and that is where I'm lacking right now. So anyways, let's talk about the skills. So we are using Mana Strike to sustain our mana. We're taking all the melee attack speed, all the increased mana. We have a ton of mana over here. You can go into Transfusion. This will reduce the amount of mana you have and help you gain it as a ward. However, if you do that, you should know that you will gain less mana, so do it at your own risk. Take the amount of mana that you need in order to be sustaining and still be tanky. Your Mana Strike will trigger your Frostclaw because you'll be putting 3 points over here to get chance on melee hit. Alongside your passive tree, this will give you 50%. And then you're going to go into Volley of Glass to make them all hit in a row, and Hand of Morditas in order to have the extra projectiles. From there, you're really clear about Glamdring just to get that spell damage per melee damage. So you can get added damage effectiveness basically over here. And then anything that says more damage or crit chance, you want those. Okay, so that's Frostclaw. Volcanic Orb, if it says more damage, take it. You want to go down the explosive ground route. This actually hasn't changed that much. I've just been experimenting a little bit because I have a lot of points. But basically, if it says more damage, take it. And then Enchant Weapon. So this is the thing that's actually evolved the most, because I tried builds both without it and with it. We do care about the melee attack speed and all that stuff. That's all the same. But we actually like to take both Zap and Fire Burst, because both of them apply on hit. They're both spells. They can both use all our added damage effectiveness, and they help with our clear. So basically that's what we're doing with Enchant Weapon. Okay, so those are our skills. Let's talk about our items because it's pretty important. Lament of the Lost Refuge. This is the way our build is working. From there, you also want to have Grasp of the Blood Mage. Super important for getting our crit capped. We have 4% spell critical strike chance on ours, which is super important. So you want to get a good roll here. From there, we are running a bunch of sets. So we have Legends Entwined as our primordial affix. This is very powerful. I obviously have a min roll in both resistance and attributes. If you had a max roll, it'd be so insane. Like you could get significantly more stats, which is awesome. Legends Entwined is important because you do want to have the Abandoned Eyes of the Weaver set. So you want to corrupt this so it can get Madness. And Madness is important because we are an intelligence stacking build, and we are turning our intelligence into spell critical strike multi, which is awesome. We are getting 132% on our build, but you can get easily up to 180%. That's a lot of damage. In return, you are taking 1% increased bonus damage taken from critical strikes. So in order to alleviate that, both on our gloves and on our belt, we're taking critical strike avoidance. So we have crit avoidance over here and on our belt, and then we have dodge rating on our belt as well. Those are the important things. Okay, from there we're running the Fairboar set because we can get 18 intelligence over here. We're running the Volatria set because it can give us flat lightning damage. And then eventually we want to have a corrupted Abandoned Eyes of the Weaver with Madness. I don't have Madness on it. I've farmed like 20 and missed all of them. So I am running a normal Oracle Amulet, but this is a very good roll. We're pretty much max rolled on the less damage over time taken, and then we have a tier 7 health. So pretty good. Those are the items. On the idols, it's super important to get increased volcanic orb damage. You can get up to 110%, so it's super valuable to get those. Okay, let's talk about the passives. So we swapped over to Spellblade because there was no reason to run Mage because we weren't running the spells, right? So what are we running? We're running Calculated Destruction from Sorcerer, and that's all we need. Then from Spellblade, we pretty much want to get all the int we can. We want to get the Arcane Shielding stuff. We want to get Warden's Echo for Frostclaw. We want to get Essence Duel for the melee attack speed. We want to get Mana Reave for that chance to gain mana. We want to get the Illusory Combatant just for the dodge rating, and then Volca's Razor for the move speed and attack speed. We can get Awe Strike for the parry chance because we don't actually care about the melee lightning damage, but the parry chance is nice. It makes us tankier. Then Mental Fortitude is giving us intelligence and endurance, and then Prodigy is pretty much helping us cap our crit. I believe this is flat crit, so this is pretty powerful. Then Burden of Knowledge is giving us the spell damage, so we're getting flat spell damage over here. It reduces our cast speed, but that's still super powerful. Then Conjured Armor is giving us ward retention from increased armor. So that's what we're doing. Like I said, I would not recommend playing this build if you don't have access to the set shattering, which is in the Weaver tree. If you don't have that Woven Echo, like I don't, I would not recommend playing it. I'm going to move off this to play a different character until I can get that node, then I'll come back. So that is my plan for the future. As you can see, my character is actually ridiculously tanky for the lack of stats. We only have 2,000 health, but because we have such good ward generation and sustain, we are easily able to clear around like 450 corruption. That's not the highest, of course, but I think this build can go to about 800, which is not my normal standard for builds, but it's pretty decent. With dodge rating, as long as we're moving, we have 800 dodge, which is about 24% dodge in the normal corruption. And then when we start getting our when we start using our stuff and getting our Arcane Shield, we have about 2.4k armor. Of course, we want to get this eventually up to like 3.5k to 4k armor. I think that's where we'd be happy. So we can get a lot tankier there. In addition, we're a little bit low on our madness. So there are plenty of places to improve this. And that's where we're going to be working on once we get access to the set crafting. So this build is super quick, super fun. The damage is really solid. The single target's actually very nice. So this is me after day 2. I was out for this whole weekend, so I played on Thursday and I played today because I took off. But I will be back to this build later. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a sub. If not, I'll see you guys later. Peace.